This is Do By Friday, a weekly challenge podcast with Alex Cox and Merlin Mann. This week's challenge, breathe.
Hello.
Good after morning, Merlin Mann.
Hi.
Hello. Oh, I just saw the text that you, I'll see you in 10 minutes then.
Hello.
Hello. Do you want to start the show, or do you want me to return in 10 minutes?
Would you like to start the show, Alex?
Yes, but I don't mind if we start now or 10 minutes
I
from
think
now.
I could use a little extra time.
Alrighty.
No.
Okay.
Jesus, are you fucking kidding me?
What?
Do you understand
No,
the problem with being late for something, Alex? Here's the problem.
do.
Is once we all
I
become
do.
late for something, nobody cares anymore. But if one person is on time for something, that means they've stopped everything else they're doing. And they're sitting in one place, knowing that within at any point within the next 3 or 4 seconds, you could be recording a podcast. So that person kind of sits there and they're like,
And
I canceled a couple things that I had hoped to do to be here on time. And, whatever time works, but the time has to be the time. Otherwise, it's not really the time.
Would you like to share some of those things? I think it's good for the show. I really just want to,
Hey, it's Do By Friday.
The people want to hear what the life
It's
of
my
Merlin
era.
Man is like. Merlin's referencing the fact that I am in an
Just so I know, do you have a direction for making this funny, or are you? Because
just want to
changing
share.
the topic is something that a child does,
That's true.
and you're not
I'm
a child. You haven't been a child increasingly for a while now.
Oh, hopefully not for a while, but
Yeah.
young at heart, and I'm just going to
You
say
consider
it.
yourself
once
young at
again.
heart.
Yes,
What does that mean to you?
immature at heart.
I love that movie. It's David Lynch, right? Hey, everybody! It's Do By Friday, and we're making it happen. Whatever it takes, and we're here. I turned up my microphone, and I think it makes it too loud, but that's okay because I feel like whatever is in the city's in the city.
I think you sound fantastic, and you haven't had a bang bang machine outside your office in a while, and I think I kind of miss it. It's
I can add that.
you could.
They have an AI feature for that in Descript, and you can have an avatar for it. Bang, 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 bang. Would you like the sound to be more erratic and occasionally quite loud than not for a minute? Yes. Hello. Would you like an avatar? Sure.
Whenever someone says hey, these tools are only gonna get better when it
boy.
comes to generative. Oh, don't oh boy me. I'm specifically actually talking about Descript because sometimes I like to fuck shit up and just see what weird things will happen. And I don't want to hear just a boring, uncanny thing. I
Yeah.
want to see
That's
you
something in
make Mike
Descript?
Pence. You can make your own voice. And
Oh yeah, it told me I have to.
really
I think
fun and weird.
It told me something interesting, which is it implied that I need to redo my own fake voice because now it's calling my old voice a legacy voice, which I
Yep.
think is a little hurtful.
Same.
Maybe not
here.
to you because you're young at heart, but calling me legacy anything first of all seems very generous. Thank you, legacy media.
Oh,
Never,
see this.
never felt very real at the time, but okay. Anyways.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you. Yeah. So what's happening? What's going on in your neck of the woods? You partying?
Well, I'm transitioning. Well, as you know, but like I said, transitioning from my very passionate octopus era to my overall more ocean era. And you sent me a really good YouTube video that'll be in notes about mollusks. And
Did you watch it?
I only watched the first half.
Oh dear.
But
it just
here's
keeps getting fucking wilder. I'm not gonna spoil it for you. I sent you just a very basic thing because I thought if you watch, you probably won't watch it, but if you do watch it, it's gonna fucking blow your mind.
Yes, I'm going to watch it.
No, it's like an hour long.
Yes.
Okay.
The longer the video on YouTube, I think, or at least in my universe of YouTube, which mostly consists of things people send me because my algorithm just is wonky wonky. It's usually, I don't know. It's usually the longer the better, because at some point, there's a lot of people who do the 14-minute mark for 2 ads or whatever. But the people who care, they're like, okay, I've got 14 minutes, but now this is just not long enough to do a deep dive. Mm-hmm. And then, you've got an hour-long documentary about mollusks, or a documentary about the Kick streaming house that I just watched that was also very good. So, it's a beautiful place, YouTube. I like it over there.
Is it like a bivalve?
A bivalve? What? Is this
No,
medication?
bivalve. A bivalve. It's you learned about it in bio class. It's related to mollusks. What is kick streaming? Put differently. Do I want to know what kick streaming is? Because I sense that I don't fucking care.
You don't. Okay. I mean, if you wanted to watch a good documentary,
so that was a great comparison. Here's the thing:
of good documentaries on YouTube. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, I liked it a lot, and it's got cuttlefish that are endlessly interesting to me. They have sex face to face, and it looks kind of sweet. It's a little bit aggressive, but what's new? Also, there are these little guys. I think the cuttlefish do this, and some of the other ones do. It's just amazing. You get. I don't want to spoil it for you. You're going to get a lot of good iridescence. Do you enjoy iridescence in an animal?
Oh, of course.
Do you like watching waves of color change actively happening live on an animal? Do you like a cute little guy that's like smaller than your pinky nail?
Of course.
This goes spurt, spurt, spurt. You get that, but you get this guy. I think it's a cuttlefish baby, and needs to hide. And so it does this. The arthropods or whatever the octopus ones do this, but they do that thing where they make woo 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 woo. They make real quick. They make a little teacup sized hole in the floor and stick themselves in it, and they kind of blend in. But then they use their little tentacles that are still sticking out to grab sand and go flip 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 and
so
cover
impressive.
themselves with chunky sand. It's so cute. It's like they hit me. That's me. I always cover myself with chunky sand using my little tentacles, my eye stalks.
I love a good chunky sand boy. And the moment I knew, you sent this to me, and I was walking home, and I started being very responsible and walking.
Pretty good. I mean, it's like a real thing. It's not like a YouTube video. It's like a real documentary.
And then I was like, oh, I need to wait to watch this on a bigger screen.
Yes.
And then I heard the line, chickens are definitely the creatures that resemble the most common ancestor of all mollusks. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Oh,
Shit's about to get real. Shit's about to get real. And I got really excited.
That channel, I got into this, so I started watching this channel and picking around. And I think it's one of those things, I don't know what you would call this in the industry, but, where there's somebody who's like, I don't know if it's a production house. I don't think it is a distribution. I think it's like, like a lot of these places, like it's closer on the food chain of media production. I think it's closer to a production house than to, say, HBO, right? They make stuff and then they sell it as a package, to these places. But these are a lot of these are pretty nice. They do one on Tasmania. That's amazing. You know what? A lot of what we're fucking on right now, we're fucking on places like Tasmania. I know a lot of people think that, like, if these species can't hang, then they probably should be, obviated. But Tasmania, that's the last thing. You leave Australia, it's the first thing you hit before you're in the in an Arctic area, So yeah. But I mean, those guys, they got a Galapagos type situation going on where they had to specialize. Also, have you ever seen a large group of Tasmanian devils? Let me put it differently, Alex. Have you ever heard a large group of Tasmanian devils all eating the same animal at once?
No, I didn't know that those were real animals, much like reindeer, until well into my 20s.
Okay.
So, no.
Topic. I'm writing this down.
Yep.
No, hang on. Are animals real? I'm writing this down. Okay. Mm-hmm. And not
also,
the ones you
our
think.
place is real. Also, our place is real because Tasmania.
Issue
it was
1.
High school,
Are animals real? This might be issue 0.
Yeah,
I need a new Python IDE.
Exactly.
Are animals real? Wait, hang on. Number 2 or 0. 2 or 0. That's called an array, Syracusa. Or a switch in PHP. Marco. So this is 2 and
Or in gay
or
culture.
0. There's pipes. I got a pipe between my 2 and my 0. It's an array. And the question is, are places real?
Yes.
Huh. All right. That seems like a good amount to
Genovia
start with.
isn't. Genovia isn't. Everyone, if you didn't know, Genovia
Wait, I know
isn't
this.
real.
That's Marvel.
No. No.
Wait, no. That's not where, wait, is that where Magneto lives?
No, that is where,
place where they
the
make bread?
princess. That is where Anne Hathaway is the princess.
Oh,
in
she's the Princess of Enchanted?
Bride.
No, what is she in?
No,
she Ella?
just the Princess Bride. Yes, I think she is Ella.
She's the
Ella
Princess Bride.
Enchanted.
She's the one that married Wallace Shawn. Never go into a land war in Asia. Or go up against the Sicilian where death is on the line. That Princess Bride?
Oh crap! No,
You
the
had it. You had
diaries.
Princess
The
Diaries. No, I
diaries.
know.
I was. They both have hot
There
women.
was a
I'm a
time
bad
when love was
person.
kind, but now it's all gone wrong.
I mean, follow up another.
I was a princess
cultural-
still today, and now I'm feeling
I
less
was.
enchanted.
I watched that movie this weekend.
Was she ever in a movie
Good-
Was she ever in a
good
movie
stuff.
with Amy Adams where they were both princesses? Is that a different thing? That's
I
got
wish.
Cyclops. Cyclops is in that one, right? The guy from the Jury Show.
Oh, James Marsden. Yes.
Yes. He's the
They call it
prince.
soaking.
Did he have a diary?
Ugh.
He's soaking in what?
He helps
you
the
saying he's
couple
moist?
soak in
Soak.
the not is it it's just called jury duty.
Genovia.
Genovia, not a real place, everyone, not a real place.
I think you might.
Things that
I
took
think you
too
might.
long
Okay,
to figure out.
I don't like to talk down to you, except that I do.
Oh,
I think
okay,
you.
no, go on.
I think you're. I think you might be confusing him. You might be getting confused with the guitarist Segovia, or you're thinking of the Segovia Accords, which are about how we're no longer going to listen to gut-string classical guitar pieces. Remember that one where at the beginning of that Avengers movie and they're all wearing baseball hats and talking into their cuffs? You know, if I was an undercover Avenger, I would not imagine that a black baseball cap and talking into a comms thing. I mean, you put Scarlett Johansson in a hat and she still looks like Scarlett Johansson.
Right.
People are like, holy shit, why is Scarlett Johansson talking into her cuff and wearing a baseball cap?
Well, to be fair, now whenever I see someone with a plain, like clean baseball hat, I'm
Yes.
like,
Cop. Cop.
No,
Princess Cop.
because it's never a clean hat when it's a cop.
Neener. Wait, where's that whole tiny klaxon siren coming from? Neener. Hello, what's all this then? It's me, the Princess Bobby. Wait, your name is Princess Bobby? Oi,
What?
you're a cheeky chappy.
Don't like this.
I don't care.
I don't like whatever. I was just.
You know, words are hard, and the thing is, so places may not be real.
Who's to say? You know.
No, who is to say? Because I could just as
Exactly.
easily say, I've smoked a lot of cigars, but I've never been to Nicaragua. I know the cigars are real. Not recently, but I don't know. Nicaragua, sure. Contras?
Maybe. Thank you.
So reindeer, remind the listeners of your reindeer journey. You probably grew up like a normal Christian kid, like with, books that had Santa and reindeer in it, right?
Oh yeah, loved.
And it was owing to the fact that those reindeer could fly that made it seem like they weren't real?
Yeah.
Wasn't that
and-
part of it, honestly?
Oh, well.
Because somebody would say to you, reindeer are real. And you go, oh, yeah. When was the last time you saw a deer who could fly? And they go, that's what's called in logic a non sequitur. Because that's what it turns out. You know what? Here's the thing. Here's a funny thing. Another thing you learn in bio. You learn that mitochondria is the engine of the cell. You learn the parts of the brain. You learn binomial nomenclature and who von Leeuwenhoek is. You learn all that stuff. But then you also learn that some animals are real.
And
And
then
that just
you
because it
forget
can't
all of
fly-
that after you finish your AP bio test, and it never returns into your mind.
I hear
and that's
that.
fine. It's
I
just
hear.
gone.
Oh my gosh, there's been so much AP going on lately. They just had testing for one thing, and kids been working on this essay, and oh my god. Yeah,
They're still
I was
doing
about
the
to say I don't miss
essays?
that, but the truth is I didn't have that because I was not good at school.
It's
Were you
not,
in
it
AP
didn't miss
bio? Is that
anything.
right? Did you say that?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
what did you, I'm sorry, I don't want to take you off. We're going to avoid birds for this episode, unless we talk about
I
birds
had
because we like them.
follow up. I had a sound.
Oh, no. I just meant I was trying to do is keep you away from the headline joke of birds aren't real. I want to talk about whether places are real, and I want to talk about perhaps, I don't want to restrict it to mammals, especially given that this is your ocean era.
Oh, no. I've always been in an ocean era. It just is which sort of family of ocean creature.
Well, how do you know how to bring hobo chic to the can red carpet if you don't know what era you're in?
Self-reflection and
Self-reflection.
A lot of deep breathing. Yeah. Yeah.
You can't read,
Sit in front of a
anything
mirror.
about Sienna Miller without seeing boho chic. You'd start to think that that's like the only thing we
words.
really know her about. And she's very talented and very charming. She's
These words.
she's Larry David's girlfriend for a while on Curb Your Enthusiasm. That was funny.
No! Oh, spoilers! I guess I thought that
He only has one girlfriend.
Cheryl.
They got divorced a long time ago.
Oh,
Just like in real
well,
life.
I mean,
Yeah. She used to, Cheryl Hines,
Very
before she
attractive
married RFK, used to be a bartender
Yeah.
with my friend Dawn in Tallahassee.
ooh. Yeah,
She went to theater school here.
I
Here
think
in
about her
Tallahassee,
a
where I
lot.
live now.
Oh, I
Hi. I was just listening to
Hi.
Jake Tapper talk to Ezra Klein about Joe Biden. And
so
now,
bizarre.
oh my God, did you hear it? It was bad. Did you hear how bad it got?
Marlon, I
It got
have
bad.
listened to.
Did you hear the
I've done
tape of him with the
thing-
Robert Hur
Yep.
guy?
I
Woof.
have heard that tape now 3 times. I have listened to, I think, 4 podcasts.
Have you
with
heard where he
hosts.
introduces Mayorkas as mubba mubba mubba? I'm not joking, man. Mubba mubba mubba. I'm serious, man. I'm not joking. He's so
Really
fucked up.
bad for George Clooney.
George Cleaner.
See, Mr. George Cleaner. Well,
George Cleaner, hi. Is this your first time at CGI Biden's? I gotta tell you, man, Barack Obama. And so, but I feel like that's part of it because, I mean, the basis for a lot of stuff, at least that I find interesting in life, is when you realize there's different ways of thinking about things. There's different sort of depths of thinking about things. There's different amounts of sort of expansiveness in thinking about things. And it's just this is oddly enough something I think about, and why, some people think a lot about something to where they get a little bit weird about it, and other people think not that much and don't even know they're not thinking about it. But in all the information you take in life, like we didn't used to know when stuff was true or not as often, right? And I thought of it, can I just say, I'm sorry, I'm rambling a little bit here. I just woke up. But one of the things that Jake Tapper said in his interview with Ezra Klein, and this is about his new book with Alex Thompson called
Original Sin, which is a banger of a title.
And it's kind of, it's
Yikes.
about, I haven't read it, but I've seen some interviews and read some reviews, and it seems to be about what they are considering or comfortable calling a cover-up, intentional or otherwise, sometimes both, unintentional or intentional, where people kind of covered for Biden in the same way you'd cover for probably any boss, maybe. But at one point they were talking about, and there's like, Ezra Klein's like, well, America saw this when he walked out on stage with Trump in June of 2024, but like it wasn't like it just happened that day. And then Jake Tapper said the thing about, well, it's like the frog boiling in water. And the second, especially Jake Tapper said that, I thought, oh, now he's gonna be like me. He's gonna realize that he's already said the perfect analogy for this that only has one problem, which is it's not true.
Yep.
So you heard about that analogy. If you put a frog into a pot of water, cold water, let's say, you start heating it up. You could get it all the way to 212 Fahrenheit, and the frog won't get out because it's subtle. And that was such a good analogy. But it's my understanding that it's not actually true.
Yeah. Slander and libel, all,
This is your amphibian era.
Yeah. Oh,
It's your
no, I'm
amphibious
past
era.
it. I'm way past it. I had one when I had to dissect a frog again in
Ooh,
high
I'll
school.
never forget that smell, that formaldehyde
Yep.
smell.
Oh yeah. I'm
Fetal
glad
Pig
it-
Day? Oh, I'm so glad. I got up at 6:15 to be here for Fetal Pig Day. But can I just say, that's, if you're following this and you aren't, that's what I'm talking about, which is as soon as any of us above average intelligence, smarter than your average bear person heard, oh my God, that's such an interesting fact. Did you know that if you put a frog into water and heat it up, it won't jump out, even if it's boiling? And the reason why is it's because it's subtle. Think about that's how much, like so many of us. And the trouble is, it's true. That part is true. You can get, you see people in a state. Think, for example, of people who end up in very, very bad abusive relationships. And there's never one day where they said, geez, I can't decide if I want to just give up all common sense and just fall in love with, Diddy or whatever. Like it happens slowly, and then you have your reasons and all that stuff. And you're like, fuck, that's such a good analogy. You're like a frog in water, and when you boil it, you don't know to jump out. But it's not true. Now, here's the thing. When all of us heard that, we didn't have the Snopes. I mean, you had maybe the straight dope if you could get onto your modem and go look it up, or you can go on Usenet. That's helpful. Go ask people on Usenet if that's real. No, it's too good of an analogy to check. But we didn't used to have access to that kind of information. So you accumulate fuck tons of information about stuff. And just remember now, your entire life as an American child, you are raised to basically just say, yes, I realize I'm a bad person. I'm not trying hard enough. I don't know enough, blah, blah, blah. I've got to cover myself to make it look like I'm always going to please people. This is real, right? And so people say shit to you all the time, and you don't know if it's true or not. And shit like, Rod Stewart had, this way I used to tell it in 5th grade, I heard Rod Stewart is a homosexual, and they had to pump 5 gallons of semen out of his stomach. People say, well, why'd they do that? Say, because he had so much penis leavings that he became ill and had to go to whatever Scottish people go to for a doctor. I guess you go to Loch Doctor title.
I was going to write that down for notes, and now I'm not. No,
it's just one of those, what we call an urban myth, right? It just gets passed around.
I heard that Michael Douglas got cancer from going down on Catherine Zeta-Jones, and I really had to be like, I have no idea if that is
her
true,
clitoris metastasized to his mouth?
Do you remember that being a thing? It was like, a mean joke. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, that doesn't seem like it's a thing that is true, but I have no way of proving that's true.
Spider eggs in bubble yum, Gene Simmons. These are all things that I heard and said to other students at Ann Weigel Elementary between 1976 and 1979. The Rod Stewart one, that was a big one. This one really hurt a friend of mine, these two kids, really sweet kids who were twins, and their dad worked at, what was it? Whoever makes Bubble Yum, worked there in Cincinnati. And Bubble Yum, it's got spider's eggs in it. Really? Yeah, it's got spider's eggs in it. What else you got? You got and no way to check them. Well, okay. But then also you're expected to have absolute certainty about saying, like, know the phylum, the kingdom and the phylum, and know all these things and all these facts. I could see it. The point is, these 19 minutes later, I could very easily see somebody saying, there's deer. And you've seen deer probably in your life, at least on TV, right? Even before The Leftovers. You saw deer on TV, right? You saw reindeer in books.
Mm-hmm. I did see
and wouldn't it be understandable, Counselor? Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen, James Marsden, isn't it fair to say that a person, even as intelligent as Alexandra Elizabethan Cox, could get a little confused and think that there may be deer, groundbound deer?
More than a little confused. I mean, I was driving to Wisconsin.
This is the question. Now, do you remember when you first?
Yes.
Because there's the background realizing of things, and then there's the foreground realizing of things. Mm-hmm. Do you remember the foreground realizing of, what? So they're called reindeer, and they're different from our deer, and they don't fly, but they're real?
Yes.
I mean, is there any lower point in your life than when something like that happens?
What's worse is I was driving to Milwaukee, Wisconsin to have one of those college introduction days for the honor program, because I'm a smarty pants.
Oh, and take a tour kind of thing?
Mm-hmm. Cool. And my aunt goes, hey, oh, there's this cool little like apple orchard place, and they have a nice animal sanctuary, and they've got this great group of
Oh my God.
reindeer that's just had a baby. I'm like,
Oh, Mima. Oh, Mima. What do you mean? What's that? You think
What?
this is some story from the old country? Right? Aren't you kind of like,
Excuse
oh,
me?
Mima?
Like,
Yeah.
wait, what? Like, I'm like, oh, wow, that's. I said, oh, it's early for them to have Christmas decorations.
Right. Or you could just as easily go like, ha ha, do they also have Bigfoots?
Yep. It was. That was a time.
My young person was, well, it doesn't matter, but I'll say it was 5th or 6th grade because my kid's best friend at the time is the source of this. And we're, you talk to people and we're talking and blah, 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 talking about how Savannah really likes narwhals. And I was like, oh, those are so cool, narwhals. And I was saying like, there's all kinds of like ocean cryptids that are really fascinating to me. And you think about how like, you think that sirens is it a mermaid? Like they're calling you to your death. And the kid's kind of like, yeah, but like narwhals. I was like, I know what a narwhal is. I know it's like any kind of a D&D monster, right? What's an owl bear? Okay, I can't imagine. Well, imagine a bear with a head like an owl. Oh, I can imagine that. Okay, imagine like a beluga whale that has a unicorn tusk. Yeah. That sounds like a narwhal, but those are real. And I said, oh, that's funny. Savannah still thinks narwhals are real. I'm doing this from memory. The kid said something like, yeah, we could go see one at an aquarium today because they're real. We could go to Monterey and probably see a narwhal. It's like a whale, but it's got a big thing. Actually, Dad, it's closer to a tooth. I said, so you're telling me, are there horses that have horny tooths on their head? And if a virgin can get one to put its head in your lap, you get to ride it? What about bugbears and orcs and Ra's al Ghul? Anything else I didn't know? Is there a way that I could go and put my hand in some kind of gom bar and somebody will tell me all the shit I didn't know was real?
We were doing this podcast and you didn't know.
What? Which one?
This podcast
it happened here
started.
too. Well, because it takes a while to really sort of, kind of catch up with you, and you go, oh, that's right. I guess I did know that reindeer are real. I should have. Where do you write something like that down?
Well, here's another thing though. At least to me, I was like, oh shit, these are adorable, giant, fuzzy, like deer moose combo. Like, wonderful. These are lovely. I'm glad that they are protected in Canada.
They look more like a moose than a deer to me. We used to get them
Yes.
every December, oddly enough, at our zoo that we used to, go to constantly, several times a week, right? We have a membership, take the kid there twice a week. And we used to get those. And I think moose are very interesting conceptually and a little upsetting to see in real life. Their legs are so much longer and so much skinnier than you think, and it's not as sexy as you would think. It's like the moose's moosin.
I was with you for a while.
The ultimate one we can't use because it's just got too many levels. Moosin skip leg day, because I think that's 3 jokes. But they're high up. I don't even say they're tall. They're high up. Reindeer.
They are, and it was a magical moment. Have you since that conversation?
Yeah.
Have you seen a narwhal?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I have, but also
They're
I'm
so
still not totally
cool.
convinced they're real.
I mean,
I think this might be what would you call this? A long con on Dad. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be good. Yeah. You go to pet one and it spits out a 2 of hearts.
Consent. Magic requires consent. Where's my burrito? And there are other things. God, I just had one of these the other day, and it's such a good thing. It took me too long to realize. But the kind that even I think that Siracusa would not be sympathetic of. Actually, I did this. Okay, but like, there's ones where you're like, oh, have you ever had those things though that are it's like a thing it took me too long to realize? And that's not the same thing here. We're talking about something different, right? Kind of. The things that took me too long to realize are where like everybody else knows this thing about why something's called something or whatever, and you don't usually, right? But
well,
these,
okay, but actually,
it's related, but it's not the same thing.
Well, I've been actually meaning to ask you. There's like facts, and then there's kind of like social norms that I don't know how they overlap.
Folk tales about like why it's this way or how it's that way, or like all the times where I've like guessed something was called this because of that, and it turns out there's this other reason. There's like you're talking about like there's the things that are like you could look up a definition in a book and be surprised, versus the like surprising way that we got the word lake trout or whatever.
Or even something like how, again, hello, Syracuse, I wonder if you'll ever hear this, how he just thought, oh, in our family, or sorry, not in our family, like the reason, I don't know, the reason we cut off the side of the roast, that's just what you do.
Yes, that's the classic example.
That's just what you do.
Yeah.
And like him, I thought most of the world was Catholic and Jewish because that was just, I wasn't on Long Island, but there were a lot of us, and suddenly it's like, and nutrients in the crust of bread, which apparently is true.
Is that a conspiracy theory?
That no, I mean it was
sounds like an RFK thing,
right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, you got to finish your whole dinner, eat
all the nutrition you need from sucking a handful of pebbles. Actually, Senator.
I just want to give him a cough drop.
Oh my goodness! I just want to make a circle with my two hands at the top of his head, and I want to grasp and slowly slide my hands down and see if I can move some of that blood into the lower 6/8 of his body. His head is.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. I want to pop it or I want to help it.
I don't know if the second one's an option.
I'm just saying. Now, places. Well, we should save something for the show. I have more of these. I got a lot. One of these I actually did bring up on the recording that comes out on this Friday. Was like there's this one Billy Joel song, and that song is still rock and roll to me. You ever heard that song?
Probably. He
goes, "What's the matter with the clothes I'm wearing? Can't you tell that your tie's too wide?" You know that song? It's still rock and roll. Okay, but people who know it will know that it's got kind of so it starts out and it goes, you hear the voice goes, it's with two different effects on it. One voice goes, "What's the matter with the clothes I'm wearing?" And then with a slight effect on it, you hear, "Can't you tell that your tie's too wide?"
Yes, there we go. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should buy some old tab collars. Welcome back to the age of jive. It was pointed out to me by the great Chris Molanphy that that's two different voices in the sense that this is Billy Joel in 1980 wondering about his relevancy and like whether he's still, relevant. He's getting older and new wave and punk have come along. And so this is his big like response to new wave and punk in 1980. Mm-hmm. And Chris Molanphy is pointing out that like, it's kind of like there's a voice in Billy Joel's head talking to him. It's Billy Joel and the voice in his head. Or put differently, it's Billy Joel and the voice of like the world, or as we would call it now, the internet. Where you just go like, why the haters? You go like, hey, what's the matter with the clothes I'm wearing? And then you hear the internet or the world go, "Can't you tell that your tie's too wide?" And Chris Molanphy pointed out that those are kind of like the two voices talking to each other. And then I had the least satisfying feeling I've ever had. That is the first cassette that I ever bought with my own money. There's no point in me telling you how many times I listened to that album. I mean, believe me, I know how to play All for Lena on piano, and you probably don't. All for Lena. All those years, 40 years, 45 years of rap rock Obama. Huh? How long has it been? 45. Moving my boxes. Mallorca. But here's the thing. And when he said that, my first reaction was, oh, yeah. I mean, I was kind of thought about that. My second reaction was, you fucking idiot. You never actually fully put that together. It's just because it's like the Apollo Robbins magic trick people again, where you're like, oh, yeah, I get that. And Syracuse does that a lot, but doesn't admit it. Like, you didn't really get it before, but now you really get it to the point where you can't unhear it, and now you have to tell people. Like, there's those kinds of things. And that's the kind of things that I think are frustrating to us, and I probably have not put that well, but I'm trying to ally with your reindeer thing, where it's like, well, there are many facts in the world. There are a lot of things I got to put together here. And like, if you told me that this thing happened, I could see that, but like, now I have to reprocess a whole bunch of stuff. Well, maybe not with the one Billy Joel song from 1980, but I think people aren't willing to admit how little they know about things. And I think we should get excited about how little we know about things and be driven forward by our order to learn more. From now on, when I want to make a point, I'm going to do it like John Kennedy.
Okay. Those Kennedys.
We do not do these things. We do not do these things because we are flaccid. We do it because we are hard.
Oh,
or difficult.
No. Speaking of Billy's, Billy Joe Armstrong, the lead singer of your favorite band, Green Day, the first song I can think of that I don't even know, way past the internet, I thought the words to Basket Case where he says, am I just paranoid or am I just stoned?
Am I just paranoid?
Because he's like, I'm just stoned.
Am I just paranoid? I thought, yeah, I thought he said. Or yeah, yeah. Or am I stiff little fingers from Northern Ireland? Or am I the Buzzcocks? How's it go?
Well,
closer to
and
stiff
it's
little
actually,
fingers.
There's different ones. He says, I don't know.
Am I just paranoid?
Or am I just stoned? Or
stoned. I didn't hear that vowel sound. Okay. That's a really good song. I loved that video of that song.
I thought it was dumb. And or am I just dumb? And also, right. I wouldn't have known what being stoned was the first time I heard that. And there are so many songs like that, kind of similar to your.
Wait, is that Basket Case? No, which one is that?
Yes, that's Basket Case.
Longview is the crazy. That's the I'm bored and masturbating song in the hospital.
Yes. Okay. Oh no! Basket Case is in the hospital, and Longview, it's just masturbating.
Helena is the one at his grandmother's funeral.
Correct. Yes. Billy Joe Armstrong.
Oh my God, Billy's still got that concert coming up. I forgot.
Oh,
you do not want to know what that cost. Someday I will tell you what that cost.
I don't.
It's the most upset. Hey, Alex, I did it, but it's the most upset I've ever been about what something cost.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Was it the
phrase? Does the phrase an order of magnitude more than I might have expected come up?
Oh, my tummy actually hurts now.
Buddy, you need to go work on it. You need to take a 0 off that.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Sorry. Billy Joe Armstrong. Well, and do you know... Oh, wait, did we already talk? Of course we talked about this, but it doesn't matter. This is not... See, the thing is, this is the problem with people like Syracuse. He acts like the program is a dictionary, and if there's more than one entry in it, people are going to be confused. That's not the case at all. This is more like this is a travel log. Or,
I think it's important to tell my reindeer story multiple times. Every day someone's born who isn't quite sure
you've got to stand in your reindeer. Have you ever heard that term though for mondegreen? You ever heard that? Mondegreen is the name for that thing. A mondegreen is a mishearing or misinterpretation of a phrase in a way that gives it new meaning. And the most famous one I'm aware of for people my age was Jimi Hendrix's line in Purple Haze, where he says, excuse me while I kiss the sky. And everybody thought he was saying, excuse me while I kiss this guy. Excuse me while I kiss this guy. Bow, now, 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 now. Okay, but this is beautiful. This is where it comes from.
So fake and beautiful.
This is so beautiful where it comes from. So here is a 1954 essay. Sylvia Wright talks about a poem. Ye Highlands and ye Lowlands, oh, where have you been? They hae slain the Earl of Murray and Lady Mondegreen.
This is so
But the correct
good.
line is they slayed the Earl of Moray and laid him on the green.
Oh God,
Isn't that good?
this is this is like the more romantic version of the Mandela effect. This is
Yeah.
beautiful.
I think you mean Mandela effect.
I
You remember it wrong. Got McDonald's this morning. I think Mama.
Mazel tov.
Oh no, it's pronounced Mayorkas. Boy, it's bad. They played a little of it. They said they say, "Hey, Joe Biden, are you going to come out to our fundraiser?" And bring on out, man. And people said, "Come to the fundraiser. It's going to be 30 or 40 people here. It's going to be a big Democratic." Did you hear this part? Big Democratic fundraiser. And they'd say the Ron Clains of the world go, yeah, cool. Can you get us a teleprompter? I'm like, oh, sorry. This is like Merlin's kid. There's probably confusion over zeros. It's not 300 or 400 people. It's 30 or 40 people. So do you need you wouldn't need a teleprompter for that, as the great Jake Tapper says, anybody in media or politics should be able to get up and talk for 10 minutes about almost anything, right? But they knew he would bloody maim and massacre the names of every person there. He might say that it's the ex-president of Egypt, instead of Warren Buffett or something.
We beat Medicare. The most upsetting thing no, I don't know what the most upsetting thing is. A lot of it's very upsetting, and it's another Trump situation where I'm like, I just gotta go all in on this story. There's no reason for me to, but it's deeply, weirdly satisfying.
Yeah, we all do it.
But the idea that is obvious when you hear it, but I want to think about more is like, okay, when does an accommodation become a crutch? And like, when's that point of something
or when
that...
Does it, or like, you're probably going to get
when does it
about
become
that word,
enabling?
but when does that third support leg, when does that crutch become a cover-up?
Yes.
And cover up in the sense of, let's go back to something here, because this is vital, and I feel like a lot of you folks still missed it. Here's Merlin Mann's definition of a lie. There's a lot of things that we say are lies, especially when they're other people. They're not lies. There's misspeaking. There's being incorrect. Like, there's not knowing. Merlin Mann's definition of a lie is when you say something or you assert something that you know not to be true, but you expect the person you're telling it to think is true. And on the one hand, that might seem obvious, but I think I think there's all kinds of things that are not lies. But the thing that makes a lie pernicious and potentially wicked is that the speaker of the lie, knows it's not true, but they expect and they will do everything they can to make other people believe that something is not true. And I think that's probably, it's a finer line than a lot of us want to really agree on. But like, if you've got that many people who are like, yeah, I don't like doing, just to be clear, I don't like doing stuff after 6. I don't like doing stuff. But you really cannot put yourself, can we put that in notes, please, the Ezra Klein interview?
Yep.
But when you're in a position where it's one thing to say, hey, he's had a long day, he's an old man, let's have him not do this, like a reception or something, with the Burundi drum circle army or whatever, and you go like, oh yeah, he's an old guy. Well, that's once, and there's another one. It's just that once you establish I think what some people in law call it habit and practice of like, yeah, we just don't have him do stuff after 6. And that's one of the things in the book was like how heavily they would load his schedule to be between, I think, like 10 and 2. Yeah. Because I know, and I'm not saying this derisively, because it goes for me, it goes for people I love, but sundowning is a thing. And like when you're around it with folks who have it, it's something where it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And you know what's better? See if you get my back on. Have you been around with people with dementia? Have you?
Yep.
Okay. So here's the thing. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. But if you really love this person and you really like maintaining an order, and if you're from the Midwest and, quote, don't want everything to turn into a thing, you simply learn without anybody really needing to talk about it that we just don't schedule stuff for grandma at 9:30 p.m.
Exactly.
We also don't schedule stuff for grandma at 3 p.m. because even though she might be totally fine, it might be, as we call it in the business, a bad day. As in, like good days and bad days. It might be a day, but also abundance of caution. If you've got a baby and you're like, if you've ever had a baby and you do get obsessed about what's called sleep hygiene, like this kid needs to have a nap at a certain time. Well, that's okay. He'll just be sleepy at 7. No, that's not how it works. If the baby does not take a nap between no longer than this amount of time, taking place after this hour and ending before that hour, I'm just here to tell you the next 2 days of my entire family's life is going to be at least a little bit thrown off. Because now that kid's not going to sleep in the normal way. And so what? And do you have to talk about it? Not really. Somebody goes, oh, we're having our dog's gender reveal party. It starts at 9 and it's in, Oakland. And you're like, yeah, no, I can't. We'll be in that night. That's too late for us with the kid. That's all you got to say, right? Mm-hmm. Any normal person, you don't have birthday parties for babies at 6 at night, unless it's for parents who want to have a reason to drink. Because no baby, well, if a baby is awake and with it at 6 o'clock, well, okay. Were all those babies happily up from their nap and in a good mood to go somewhere at 4? And what about the babies that didn't get a nap? You're better off to make it at 11. Make it at 11. Folks, we love 11.
Folks, we love 11. Grocery.
We're looking into 11 very strongly.
I'm not sure.
So we don't do that with grandma and grandpa, is what I'm saying.
Well, my family's, like my extended, it's so weird because they're not my extended family because it's my siblings, in-laws, and the
parts of the family that aren't you.
Nieces. Yeah, no, but like not my cousins, but my immediate Chicago family, my siblings, their significant
my
others.
Chicago family.
And now... And now
sounds like people who own
nieces,
machine guns and right on the fenders of cars in the 20s. My Chicago family.
but they
that's Fat Ricky. Flea Bite Nick.
No, Pope. It's
that's Sammy
funny.
Sosa. The Sammy Sosa? Yeah, he's in my Chicago family.
Mm-hmm. Well, our lives when it comes to outings and celebration, it does revolve around toddlers.
Number 1, baby. Number 2, old people.
But
also travel, right? Doesn't travel. What the event is and how people will need to travel to get there and everything involved in that. Isn't that kind of part of it also? It's time, but it's also travel. Yeah.
The holidays aren't just Tetris for where you need to go. It's when you need to be there because it's like how long you need to take.
And you plan your wedding before your sister gets pregnant, but
yes.
Now your wedding in a year. Your wedding's in a year. Your sister gets pregnant 2.5 months from now. Do the math. Well, nobody planned it this way, but no fucking way for medical reasons and sanity reasons, but especially medical reasons. You don't want an 8-month-old pregnant, 8.5-month pregnant woman on a plane. I mean, not just for oopsie doopsie, we've got a very special episode, but also because there's all kinds of reasons. It's just not good for the
health. Just for any.
Well, no, I think there are people probably who think, well, suck it up, put on a Depends and get on the Spirit, but no, that's not good. Plus TSA touches your stuff.
Yeah. Oh, do they ever? I don't know if I think there are more suck it up people than I thought, especially in the Democratic Party, because it's like, oh no, it's fine. Like
talking about him,
talking about Biden in that they were making those plans of not having the.
But do you think? How much do you think they? Not that it matters, but just out of interest. The distinction, how much do you think people actively and often coordinated about operationalizing the need to shield him and to protect his dignity, let's say, or his, self-esteem, but also to shield him from things that could be damaging? How often do you think that was an overt conversation and how much was it a wink wink?
Oh, I mean, that's
I bet it was pretty formalized, personally.
It seems like by the end it was. I have not. The book came out yesterday. I haven't finished it, but it was indeed officially formalized to like in like cabinet meetings, but it seems like day-to-day resident things, it starts off as a wink wink, and then it becomes just, you're having a literal script for a cabinet meeting. That one fucked me up, hearing that. And there was another
The answer then is to just not have another cabinet meeting until after you've dropped out of the race.
Yep.
Boy. Can I just say, though, I'm sorry, I want you to finish, but I have an important thing to say about this also that I want to just get out in the air. But how far in are you? Is it in chronological order?
Oh, yeah, sorry, no, it's not. It kind of starts with like the excerpt that ran in the New Yorker, and then it gets to like the election.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, and oh man, what's kind of, well, you go ahead. It's just
I just wanted to say, because I said this. I turned it on to my wife last night. We're sitting on the couch. I made a really nice dinner with the help of Shaddy G. And we're eating dinner. And at one point I was like, can I just say, I'm not mad about this. And I'm not going to make this a skeleton key for deciding who I should be mad at. I was like, this is inside house talk. I said, but with the revelation of the cancer stuff, there's something pretty wild went on. I'm just going to say that. Right. So, I mean, there's the obviously we all saw what we saw with the debate. There's all the things that happened after that. There's just how the way everything's gone over the last year, and then there's those revelations. There's this book. Then there's the cancer thing. And I was like, he's got
the View appearance, which was just a sight to behold.
But I'm honestly, and I just, everybody just please give me a little bit of latitude on this, because I hope you all know me well enough to know that despite some of the things I'm about to say, I'm not this particular guy. I hope we know. I'd like to think anyway, I'm not the particular guy. How often do you see me out pissing and moaning and whining about the world and politics on the internet? I don't do it. Does that mean I don't think about it? Then you don't really know me. I just don't talk about it because I'm a gentleman and I have nothing. Our external just sharding about the world is not helping fucking anybody, including ourselves. But I was like, dude, he's got, as people like to point out, some of the best medical care in the world. How does an 80-ish year old man who is the president of the United States with all kinds of known health issues and, forgive my saying, a lot of cancer in the family, how does he get to stage 4 cancer? And this is the part that I really want y'all to listen to. How does he get to stage 4 cancer and nobody realizes it until this week? And that's where I kind of caught myself and went, I really wanted Kamala Harris to win, because apparently I'm the only person left on the planet that really liked her campaign and what she had to say. I know that's not a very cool thing to say. I know I'm supposed to be, developing new recriminations about strangers and their poor decision-making versus my excellent decision-making, but I'm not going to fucking lie. I care about all that shit that you guys say was a distraction. I care about every fucking bit of it. But there certainly are ways, as the great, not Nixon, but I think Ron Nesson, his press guy, said, mistakes were made. We can all agree on that. I'm not looking for something to get mad about. But I did have a moment last night where I was like, how do you get to stage 4 cancer? How do you get to 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10 cancer where it has metastasized to a different organ system? In this case, it's bones. How do you get to that and you find that out? You only caught that in May of 2025?
Right.
Because I'm not saying, but I'm saying they had no idea that he was very, very ill with cancer until like this week. Something about that seems odd.
The day
Is there a chance they
before.
knew something about this a while back and just didn't say it? I hate to say it, but is that possible? Because if that's the case, I am starting to get a little angry now. I'm getting a little miffed. If this goes from the president gets confused about which tragedy he's sad about today to maybe we didn't even tell him, and maybe I bet Jill knew, but like, you know what I mean? Because that now my mind, my wheels are turning a little bit, and I'm like, oh, I'm not trying to turn this into a thing that becomes like a Mark Ruffalo movie or something, but like that is troubling. That is like Spotlight or whatever. Like that's troubling to me that well, it's troubling to me that he's not getting taken care of. When like, what do you know about Joe Biden? Well, his kid died of cancer, and it was a real bummer. Anyways, I don't know. That's where I start to feel a little bit like I got bamboozled a little bit, but I wouldn't change a thing about it. Well, I changed a lot about it, but I liked her campaign. I know she's people don't like her or whatever, but where we were last summer to where we were by November, I was buoyed. I thought it was exciting. I thought there was a chance. I really did.
I envy envy you.
A lot of people do.
I'm
a very interesting guy.
But we agree. I don't think it's very interesting or helpful for normies like me who are not. You know what I mean. Like, I'm not in that world.
You're not like you're not primarily
I am not a capital
party
D
person. You're not a
yes.
yeah. No, but this is the
and
thing.
I never have. Yeah. And so when I talk, I'm like. Yes, I voted for Kamala Harris. I wasn't that excited to, and it just I've
never liked her. Can I just say again for the 9,000th time? I lived here. I know her. I don't like her, but she would have been so much better than what we got. And people believed in it.
No one thinks I can't imagine a person who even people who despise not just like actively
today the DOJ said even if we can't prosecute people, we'll still find a way to harass them.
Yep.
That's where we are. Do you remember how? You remember Max? You remember Max in 2016 talking about moving and having a plan and everything? Mm-hmm. And it was,
yes.
Oh, Max, you're so funny. And he kept like wanting to talk to people about what their plan is for getting out. And like, what are you, an independent director? Calm down. Like, but seriously, holy shit. I mean, anyways. Oh God, this is sad. It's sad and depressing.
No. Well, but here's the thing. I find this at least more sad than I don't know. I'm
sadness pageant.
It feels.
Who is the winner of the sadness pageant?
Here's the other thing. It feels a little bit validating to be like, oh, okay, so it wasn't like, all right, it wasn't just my leftist like, meh. It
my
was really, yeah. Oh, all right, that was good.
I'm sorry. Keep going. He did that for a whole year. For a whole year, he lived as Joe Biden. Daniel Day-Lewis. That's one of the reasons he had to retire. For a whole year, he was doing method. He was doing Meisner. Barack Obama.
I mentioned we talked a little bit about how the DNC here over the summer was just brutal and weird and icky. But
in terms of how they were conducting themselves.
Yes, the vibe of just
if it's any judge, the text that I get for Madeline's phone from 2006, because I still get her bleeding heart plea text messages. Mm-hmm. If it's any indication, it's not a lot better. I keep getting scrolling like 9-inch long texts from people. Hello, my name is Captain Senator Joan, and Joe Biden is trying to send me into an oubliette just because I need to raise $11 and it's like, oh my fucking God, it's all so callow. That's one reason I'm not a big DNC person is Jesus. It's like the Catholic. Oh shit.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yep.
Alex QED for the first hour or two of this program. I just had one of those things where I realized something, but I also really, really realized something. The problem with the Catholic Church is it's more about the Catholic Church than it is the faith of the parishioner. The problem with the Democratic Party is it's more into the glorification of the Democratic Party than the future of the supporter. Or something like that.
It is just both, both parties are now fandoms and
that's why I always call you the Pope of Pussy Hats.
That's
Miter. No, Miter.
That's
I barely know her.
Title fishing.
Oh my God! I made a Pope hat joke. Miter. Let's see. Sacristy.
Okay, but really though, don't you feel a little bit sad for the folks who do I do know many true believers
Like they've
and
been
friends
saying,
who
the
are
people who took a fucking year off their life to make this happen.
right. No,
Like the people who worked, the people who really, really worked on this campaign, right?
Yes, and the people who we have a friend. Oh, I don't know if they ever were on the show, but like who were previously part of like the Biden administration, like really were friends of his, and they were one of the people who were like, oh, well, he's president now, and even though we normally have this dinner, and like, oh, okay, I guess we're just not going to see him because he's busy. Yeah, he's tired. Like. Knowing that there were people who
And the president has gone ahead and made himself a fort under the table. Or
all right, that'd be cool. That would just be fun. But if I, was a true believer, this must be a really painful week, and I really, I don't know, I feel
imagine.
that
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the same, like, there were true Kamala Harris believers, and like,
Right. But it's only the people on our side that are tearing ourselves up over, well, of course, other people want to tear us up too. But I mean, meanwhile, gestures broadly.
Yes. I can tolerate anything.
We can't bring that guy back from El Salvador. Actually, yeah, we can, but we won't. Okay, but you have to. Well, we're not gonna. It's like, whew. And then just some of the immigration shit. What was this on? What was I listening to? Probably What Next? They were talking about this. Might have been Michael Barbaro, but they were talking about, that one thought is that yes, immigration is a strong issue for Trump, and if he had put all of his effort into making a big show at the border, that would be one thing. But the video, I think the video matters. The video of what's happening in interior states is, and put it differently, at non-border areas. And I know Stephen Miller thinks the whole United States is a border. That's a cute thing to say. But honestly, like the whole breastfeeding children thing, the woman who had gone to do a check-in at ICE, to just make sure she's still good.
What?
And they took her in.
I don't know.
Taking mothers or breastfeeding, just arresting her, and then the kids being put into ICE, just being watched by ICE while they go interrogate their mom, who's now gone, or the kid who was getting cancer treatment. I mean, we could all come up with the worst case of these, but also just a 21-year-old woman looking like 21-year-old women in college getting a coffee due, just getting pulled off the street. Mm-hmm. And so for all those times that Joe Biden got up there and said, this is not America, this is not who we are, we're not very much in a position to start saying that's not only who we are, but it's who we're becoming in addition to that. And that's very upsetting to me. And it makes me mad that we're supposed to have these arguments about Joe Biden. It frustrates me. And I know that's real basic. The Chapo guys would not think this is very hilarious, but it hurts my heart.
Well, but when they're not doing bits, I think the Chapo guys.
Oh, I'm not criticizing, but I haven't listened to them in a million years. Felix is the funniest person on the planet, but
yes.
but there is that sort of oh, cool, I love that cannonball guy. Are you being sarcastic? I don't even know anymore.
Yeah. Yes, the
is Will still on there? I like Will. Is Will on there? Yeah. I like Will. Will's my favorite.
Yeah, he's
Felix is the funniest, but
guy.
Will's my favorite.
Yeah, and Matt is getting better. It's
good.
Nice,
is he becoming less like he is?
Oh, he had a stroke. Oh
shit!
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
When? I had no idea. I feel so bad. I'm sorry. When?
No.
He's in my. Did you know Matt Christmas is in my quotes file? Did you know that?
Oh, I don't think I did.
I think the quote. I'd have to look it up. I wanted to make sure I got it right, and I wrote it down in the date. It was from the Grey Wolf feed. Cocaine is still collecting royalties. Sorry, cocaine is still collecting royalties for this song. Have they talked about Rod Dreher lately with the Pope stuff? Have they been talking about Rod Dreher?
No, they're really.
Are they off Rod Dreher?
I don't know.
That was some of my favorite stuff for the last 5 years. Was Rod Dreher's Catholic Insights.
They release really sporadically now, partly
so do
because Matt. Oh, okay,
I should drink more water.
I was going to. Oh
no!
boy.
Is he? And did it how How big?
Well,
Like
he's not on the
talking and stuff?
podcast. And yep,
I'm so
there's a-
sorry.
yeah, there's a reason. Well, but
No, I'm just sorry to hear that because,
Yeah.
I reached a certain point where, for my own reasons, I needed to not listen to the show anymore. Nothing against them, but like they're up there in the pantheon for me. I mean, other people I have trouble listening to now, including my Bam Bam. But people who are like a big deal to me, and I'm very sorry to hear that. I'm sorry if anybody could reach out to the Chapo family. Please tell them a guy they don't know is sorry to hear that. I used to be on your Patreon.
It was a really like beautiful like community moment where everyone dropped the bit.
Oh shit! Really?
There's a number. Well, they've done this
You ever heard Felix talk when he's not doing
the.
the bit? It's like listening to Sacha Baron Cohen.
It's
He's like the smartest person I've ever heard in my life.
yeah. Did
you watch that
such a writer.
documentary on Ultimate Fighting stuff?
Yeah,
He was in?
it's good.
Fuck.
There's also what they've been doing more of, like the Chapo extended universe, is smaller seasons, like one-off type things. And
In orchestra,
Felix
we call it breakout sessions.
but
Like just the flute. Were you a flute?
I was a flute.
Did you ever have to do
yes, very
sectionals? Were you
fluty.
which was with the other flute fruits? I just made that up.
Yes. I like the
Flute.
the fluty flutes.
That's really nice. It makes the sound of the instrument. Flute. Trumpet. That doesn't work. Bass.
It'll be in the notes. Felix did a series about the rise of Fox News, and it's called "Seeking a Friend at the End of the World," and it like weaves kind of
He's
in and
really
out
smart.
of the bit. But yeah, well, and with this,
I bet you if you met
so
that guy
is-
at dinner, you'd have a really good time. Like if you went to a
Yes.
dinner with like 5 friends, I bet you'd have a good time with Felix.
Yes, one would. Yes, I agree. And
I could.
yeah,
I'm sorry. I mean, maybe he's an assaulter.
No,
I don't know.
no.
You said it in
He's
one
not.
of those weird ways, like, "Oh, I actually did, and I can't talk about it." on
No,
the show."
it's weird for
I
me
don't
to
care.
say
I don't
yes, I
want celebrity
have
fucking.
had-
Don't fuck people in front of me.
No. Ew, no. I'm saying that like I have hung out with him. He's super nice. He's from Chicago, and like, but vapes
so Sammy
too
Sosa.
much. All of what is with millennial? I guess
What?
maybe it's back to
What?
me not being cool enough for cigarettes.
What?
So many people vape, including all of the Chapo boys. Like almost millennials
I think
vape.
Virgil was the most famous vapor for a while. Famous
Public
vapors.
vapor.
Hi, is this your first time dining at Famous
Oh,
Vapors?
God. Okay.
Did you ask that
I
person
promise
to not
this
stop smoking? It's not smoke.
it's oh
Vape.
God.
What does it smell like watermelon and butts in here? Vape.
Oh man. This is related to Joe Biden. You know, Matt Christman, you have a medical event and suddenly you can't do something like talk as coherently as like, you know,
Yeah.
your brain can't, or your mouth just can't.
Yeah, I was
keep
trying to
up
ask
with
carefully
brain,
because I
especially-
know this is the obvious sort of symptoms
really
that would
public.
affect him, but there's
Yeah.
also just a lot of other, like our friend can tell us. There's a lot of stuff related to that that's not just about how somebody sounds when they talk.
yeah.
It's an
and
actual health event of some import.
It happened too when his wife was in the hospital giving birth, and
Fuck
God,
me
talk about
gently.
and so that's why I say it was a really nice time to see.
Our hospital
not
doesn't
just,
serve drinks with sugar anymore. Do you know that? If my wife got pregnant today, inshallah, I could not get a Coke there. They don't sell Cokes.
Oh, like not just to patients. They're just doing
UC's done all the stuff to get him in trouble. Believe me, I know. Boy, they've tried really hard to help a lot of people. You can't smoke. There's no smoking. There's like no all the stuff we thought of as like a dad in a cartoon baby hospital waiting room. Can't do any of that anymore.
Wait, was this?
I'm just
like
thinking, if my wife was having a baby, I would really want a sugary drink. No, because UC is trying to be, healthful.
That's so. Was it like a San Francisco? It wasn't a
Where the worst part? The Starbucks is closing. The Starbucks on Parnassus in my shrink's building is closing.
Oh,
That's a big deal. Just so you all know, the one we're at the end, and we're heading toward Coal Valley, and like there's like you're about to go down the hill, and there's all that construction. all that construction, fucking Parnassus. Oh my God. But yeah, that the one by I think it's 400 Parnassus. What, I forget where. But that giant ass Starbucks, they're closing it. And Madeline's like, people work all night. And I was like, if they were half a block. Now I'm just doing local talk. I'm sorry, I'm doing local talk. If it was half a block closer to the Union, it would be fine. But it's just a little bit too on the outskirts for now. Once that new building comes in, woof. They knocked down her whole old psychiatry building. She used to work in psychiatry. She used to work for the head of psychiatry. Yeah. And the day she started work there, she used to work in the dean of the medical school's office at UCSF. And then she started working in psychiatry. And I said, I said, and I had a printer at home. I said, I'm going to print you out a sign to put up. And it says, you don't have to be crazy to work here, but it helps. And I said, I think if you put that up at work, it would be a good sign to your new employer, the head of the psychiatry department, that you're very tuned in with the mission of the Department of Psychiatry. It should be a sign she puts up that says,
at least 15 minutes.
You don't have to be crazy to work here, but it helps. Mm-hmm. And then next to that, you could have one that says, you want to win? And everybody's laughing.
Yeah. No one's ever done that before. It's really great. It's really funny.
You want to win?
It's really, really funny.
I have two modes, slow and not. We should design funny signs for offices. Do people still do that? No. Do people still put up funny signs on offices?
You can do that. You do that.
I do that.
Yes.
I can help a lot of people. I kind of need to poop, but I also want to do the challenge.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and do the challenge.
All right.
Knowing that I'm holding my poop.
Oh, yep. Okay. Moving on. This week's challenge.
I may not be a manager, but I do know how to motivate people. We got a man on your boat.
Oh, good.
Remember Lost? Remember how good Lost was?
Hey.
Whenever the baby, when the baby had a dookie in the baby's diaper, we say, there's a man on the boat. Remember that? Isn't that Linus? Cute. Who says that?
That's
Is Mr.
cute.
Friendly? Is it Mr. Friendly that says that? We got a man on your boat?
Oh, I thought it was
Linus.
Isn't that Locke? I don't.
Linus Locke. Locke is Google. Google is Anthropic.
God.
Locke on Game of Thrones is played by Noah Taylor. He's the one who cuts off Jaime Lannister's hand. No spoilers. We are up to three or four. We just got up to Pedro Pascal fighting the Mountain.
Oh, it's
something happened to his sister. He came to settle for his own reasons. And Billy says, I think, Billy, the original Pedro Pascal fan, but still a broad enough cultural critic to say, I think if somebody breaks your weapon during a fight, you shouldn't be able to get a new one. And I said, I see your point of view.
Oh, that is powerful.
So I don't know if you remember, but the Mountain, that's how I got the name, I think. He's really big, and he's got a two-handed broadsword, and he's fighting Oberyn Martell, who's beautiful. That was his first big thing,
Yes.
I mean, this is before.
So small.
This is even before
He was a
Narcos.
small man.
He's gorgeous in that. He's so gorgeous in that.
Is.
Pedro Pascal, he's fighting. He's like, what is he, the Viper or whatever, right? And he's fighting with a stick. And I'm not gonna say what it is that he says over and over because it's upsetting. But there's three issues that he really was to settle with the Mountain, and they all involve his sister, Elia, and her children. Now, if you go in and you learn about the Battle of the Trident, you'll find out about the unique circumstances that led to Elia being at King's Landing at that time. It's actually pretty interesting.
Oh my God. This is a really good show.
I'm lonely.
I'm glad I can talk about my ball of Scarab.
Alt-shift text, videos all day. I love that guy's videos. That guy fucks.
Challenge. You must relieve yourself. Merlin, this week's challenge was yours.
Yeah. Well, if I hadn't fucked around and found out, I'd have more to say. But challenge this week is to breathe. And I don't know. How much do you have to say about this?
We talked about it a lot.
No, remember, now hang on. Let's get back to an earlier issue we have, which is there are times when someone will ask you a question about something, and it's not a performative question where they want you to go do something else. They're asking, from often when I'm asking a question, I would like you to consider the question that I'm asking you and then answer the question that I'm asking you rather than saying something else. How much do you have to say?
Less than 5 minutes of things to say.
By the way, great success. Remember that. Please be able to do that again.
Full Great success. Oh, you mean do it? Answer questions again?
I'm trying to figure out how I incept you. Like maybe I should have some kind of like a Dwight Schrute tick. Like from now on, when I go question, then you as an implied colon, like in your lower colon or your outer colon. I would say question, and then you would know that I'm going to ask you a question. I'd like you to answer it instead of just say something else. You did great right then.
Thank you.
Full marks.
Great success.
Challenge this week is to breathe. And the quick start is that I've come across this article in New York Times that the angle of the, and we'll please put this in notes, is the,
Yes.
God, I really dislike this phrase. And yet I'm stuck with it now, breath work. And it's kind of about like what athletes, elite athletes in particular, do with breathing exercises. But I think I brought it to you because I think it's interesting for 2 or 3 reasons. The one that's the surprising reason for me is how people integrate different kinds of breath work or breathing exercises into their ongoing training. Not just as a way to relax themselves when they're sad, but like how much it's almost like its own separate, understandably invisible pillar of training for athletes. I liked it for that reason. I liked it for the reason that it talked about a whole bunch of different breathing techniques. And my third reason, which is my only real thing to say, which is like, I just love the reminder of this. This to me is like going to a revival, as a born again Christian. I need to be reminded in clever ways that get past my filter that the power of your breath is always like one breath away. I need to be reminded of that. Those are my biggies. And that's why I brought it to you though. And in particular, the Steph Curry part. Do you want to say what you got out of the article? Or you want to talk about your breathing? Because don't we recommend this article?
Yes, I would. It's interesting. I don't think it's necessarily a good thing to read if you're looking to find a breathing practice.
I completely disagree.
Really?
I think it's interesting because, first of all, there's an element of so many of the things. I don't know what to call this because some of it is silly, new age. Some of it is too ancient and dignified for me to understand. But sorry, I was trying to make a KLF reference and I blew it. The breathing has been a big part of stuff that I've been working on since I was 14. And it's just that you don't always know that. Like when my friend was taking Taekwondo, breathing was a part of that. My wife does Pilates and yoga. Breathing's a part of those things. Trying to get to sleep at night. Breathing is a part of those things. It's just that usually breathing or breath work or directed breathing, or let's just leave it open for now. It's presented as a practical trick for being somewhere else. It's a practical trick for being or getting somewhere else. I'm freaked out. I don't want to be freaked out anymore. Well, just do your breath stuff. Okay. All right. Okay. I can't get to sleep. Do your breath stuff. I want to be able to meditate. Do your breath stuff. We don't give enough credit to just remembering to breathe. Not because it gets you anything. And when I say I'm not talking about the autonomic thing. And just to be clear, the most fascinating thing I got this week, not just the cause yourself to breathe differently, but there's this whole panoply of different ways. You could even just make it as dumb as, okay, there's box breathing. Is there one person that didn't know about box breathing that does now? Good. Is there one person that knew that you could wake up and take 20 deep breaths in the morning and they know that today and they didn't know it yesterday? Good. The other part of it, so that's one part, is I do think there's a practical component to that part, but I also just thought hearing how actual performing people, especially in this case, Steph Curry, not because he's a Warriors guy, but because of the explanation of how breath is involved with his training, it all becomes a reminder that there's no more pure way to feel solely alive for a minute than to stop and breathe. Just even if you do one breath for 1 second, you're better off than you were before. That's why I think it's good for people. Also, I'm not sure you actually read the whole thing if you didn't think it was interesting. I think it is worth reading, but if you don't think about your breath constantly like we do, I'm not saying you should do that.
But I think a lot of people do, not constantly. Thinking about the breath work, there are a lot of people who whose
I mean,
meditation
as part of like a
practice
mindfulness practice, a deliberate mindfulness. Okay.
And this is
Well, I mean, this is all right. I guess I'm just saying, like, all right, never mind.
this is yes.
I don't
read
think you're
this
going to
article.
get smart
It's
people
interesting.
into this by showing stock art of a woman in a lotus position stacking stones on a cliff. I don't think that's a way to attract smart new people to this practice. I think saying that like by the time you finish reading the second paragraph of this, you'll feel different than you did at the beginning. Is a powerful way to backdoor a message.
Okay. Yes,
No,
and
go. Forget it.
my
I don't care.
favorite
I don't
part.
care.
No, oh my
I'm
God,
wrong.
no.
I'm wrong. I'm
The
wrong, and
other-
I'm sorry. I'm
It's
being
good.
obdurate.
It's a
No, you're
good
being
article.
obdurate.
It's a good article,
Hate
and
the New York
my
Times,
favorite,
talk about trans stuff.
My favorite line of this whole thing was it all starts with having a sense of calm and having a sense of organization inside your brain, because I don't often enough think of breath as right. This is a way of figuring out not just what's going on in my body, but being aware of what is going inside my head, and not in terms of necessarily mindfulness. Just like, okay,
Yeah, it doesn't have to have a brand name. That's the beauty part. It's like it doesn't need to be part of. If it is part of a practice, it'll be part of almost every practice. But here's the beauty part. You know, one thing you've been doing since the moment you were born, breathing. Every single moment you're alive, you've been breathing. You've got a through line for your entire life. And guess what? Until the day you die, every second of the rest of your life, you will be breathing. And like, that is a through line. It's almost like those cables that pull you up a hill in skiing, like, which still takes skill. But like, you don't want to grab that wrong. But you could grab that tow line anytime you want and reconnect with the one long breath that is your life.
Yes, I got hung up on the part about ancient Greece, and I'm like, okay, I know what this.
Fair.
It felt that's the thing they put. It's like they have. I just wanted to talk to the interesting experts, and the guy writing this had some weird takes.
Remind me what they said about Greece. Is there something like classicism that made you roll your eyes or something?
No, it was.
I bet it was about Aristotle, because Aristotle used breath as there's a reason we say inspiration. Because think about the word root, like SPIR, to fill with air, right? It's like there's a lot of stuff in especially with the Greeks that like has to do with thinking about things in terms of breath and ether and things like that.
Ether.
Well, ether used to be like at the Ether Factory, and now I think that used to be the name of. I want to say I haven't read this shit in 40 years, but in Socrates' time, I think that was one of the ways they would refer to like the stuff we don't know, the dark matter of the world, or just like. But they had a special name for all that stuff. But
really?
I had an Aristotle phase. It was really good.
Oh,
yeah.
It was a good era.
Fuck yes. Have you never? Yeah. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
I
I have.
dumb thing. No, I had an Aristotle phase, which of course then led to my.
Read?
Yeah, but read another Greek philosopher. And I'm not saying it to say that, but then this is the other exciting part about being left to your own devices at liberal arts school is that if you sit around for a little while, an interest in Aristotle in my case, did turn into an interest in St. Thomas Aquinas, because these things, I don't know. There's that weird stuff of like, how Socrates was the, teacher of Plato. So like the stuff we know about Socrates comes through Plato. It was Plato who wrote about Socrates. People know that. But like then what's the lineage? It's like Socrates taught Plato. Plato taught, was it Aristotle? Aristotle taught, Alexander the Great. I don't remember the exact succession, but there's been this crazy sort of connection with that stuff. But I don't know. I just think it's neat that like no matter how chapo-pilled I get about the world, I can always just grab that tow line. And a couple of those things people mentioned, like the highlights for me are like the box breathing one is really good. I never heard it called box breathing back when I learned it, but that inhale, hold, exhale, hold, inhale, hold, however you do that, whatever numbers you associate with breathing. I find those things, I'll put it subtly, surprisingly powerful. And one that I do that's interesting inside of interesting to me is, have you ever tried to just observe your breath without counting and just observe your breath without changing your breathing? That's kind of my new thing, and it's very interesting. And it's almost impossible to do. Well, here's the problem. You have two different sides of that wire where you can fall off. I mean, if you're concerned about it, which I'm not, the inevitable result, it's all a trick. It's just a trick to make you fucking calm down. So, like, even if you do it wrong, you'll still be better off.
Asterisk.
Not you, but, like, you're still better off than you were 2 minutes earlier. But, no, on the one hand, you know, I've always heard, you know, especially with regard to one of the numerous things that gets confusing about meditation, whatever form, versus relaxation, whatever that form, is they have lots of things in common, especially at the sort of novice level, where, like, it's difficult to calm your mind until you calm your body. If you don't calm your mind, you're not going to make yourself calm your mind. But the point is that, like, if you want to get rid of your monkey mind and be able to focus on anything, there's worse things to focus on than patterns of your breath. But there's one way of thinking or one way of practice, which is, like, try to deliberately slow your breaths, or, you know, there's all these things you do where you're intervening with your breath, and it works. It works great. But if you get too involved with that, well, you know, one reason we do that is it keeps us interested in wanting to keep the count, whatever that is, or whatever. There's all kinds of patterns you can do for that stuff, but it's getting you to focus on something. And in this case, as it happens, you're focusing on the thing that maybe you actually, in some ways, have the most control over that can affect your autonomic system. When your breath slows down, it tells your body a lot of things. In the absence of your breath slowing down, your body may not have the signals to know that we're not in trouble right now. And so you do that kind of stuff. But the interesting part of that high wire act is, on the one hand, like, you could be like counting breaths, keeping track of breath, but can you keep track of breath without getting distracted? But can you, like, do that? Is there a way you can do that without actually changing your breath? So, like, what if your job is just to count? Versus, you're not a coach. You're just a guy with a clicker, right? It's interesting. I discover interesting things when I try to just count, because I have trouble just counting, and I find myself, ironically enough, trying to slow things down and make myself relax. You ever been, how about this? You ever been really, really keyed up and you're breathing short, you know, shallow breaths? You ever try and count your breaths when you're keyed up without slowing them down? It's a different kind of mindfulness, and it's weird. Like, what if really seriously, like, what if I'm not the coach today? What if I'm just handling? Do you follow? Is that distinction making any sense?
Oh, are you asking me? Yes, absolutely. And it's
almost impossible to do, but failing is success because you're going to relax.
Well, here's where I wish that I think there's a whole realm of interesting things involving breath that maybe it's too I don't want to say it advanced, or it's too abnormal, but there's a lot of weird shit you can do with your breath, like some nose unblocking exercises, or when you intentionally make yourself hyperventilate. That's
right. They talked a little bit about that, right? Deliberate, like you deliberately try to, like, run yourself out of air is one of them.
Yeah, yeah. And what I find kind of I only see this in, like, really. I guess, like, videos, I suppose, or in, like, medical settings where there's talk about the downsides of not downsides of breathing.
Downsides of breathing.
But you should take a break every once in a while.
I mean, you don't have to do it all the time. It's not like praying.
It's almost like praying. What?
Alexandra, I just met a thing named Alexandra. Actually, Tony doesn't sing it that high. That was my ambition.
Unless it's in Broadway Reacts, which
it says it's in Broadway Reacts, which is about electrical circuits. That's where Tony's made out of electric.
No.
Remember that one? Hey,
No.
Officer Krupke, turn off the lights. That's all we got.
Oh no. Oh, so I guess you don't have anything to say about it. that was good. I liked this article. Here's my here is my thing. I think people should try to like a bunch of these exercises and. Box breathing, I've started to realize it does not really mean, or people don't interpret it necessarily the same way that I and some other people do, which is like literally not just counting, but literally visualizing a box or there are different exercises.
I knew that 4-step part before I knew the visual part. So that always seemed like a little bit of a strap on. Like I knew the in, hold, I knew that one. And that has helped me a lot.
That's the thing. If I try to do a lot of the more basic breathing exercises, it is, who knows if it's connected to all of my brain chemical type things, but I would like literally start hyperventilating if I try to
For me, that was because I would only ever meditate when I was deeply stressed out. And I came to just associate meditation with being stressed out, which is, it's kind of silly, but that was my problem. It was like, well, maybe if you did this at times, maybe if you did this before you needed it, you wouldn't need it.
Yeah, and that I think is the best part of this is like, this is jaw maxing before you get TMJ.
Eesh. Is that helpful?
Yes, very.
Well, to whom is that good advice? To whom is that good advice, and what did it just teach them?
What do you mean? What does it teach? Well, if you don't know what I was saying, then you're not worth learning it.
Okay.
You're not
seems kind of
worth
like
learning
a phony baloney internet meme joke about your health is something where you're saying that is what breathing makes about as much sense as something from Dr. Mew.
No, I don't know what. See, you're talking about mewing. I think that's different than jaw maxing. But I'm not that familiar with the culture. I think I did a frog in
everybody take from
water.
that what you will.
Yeah,
Alex just said something. But it's advice.
People understand. It was a very, very good metaphor. Yeah, you got a jaw max before.
How's it different?
What do you mean? How's it?
What is jaw maxing? I thought that was the thing where you made yourself look like a Chad.
Yeah, but mewing, isn't it extending? It's just extending.
Oh, I'm sorry. These are two vastly different made-up things you do with your face to try and look like a boy.
Mewing.
I'm sorry. That was really medically careless of me. Sorry, Dr. Mewtwo.
Dr. Mewtwo!
Super rare. Cubone loves his mommy so much. Remember when he hits the man with the little bone? He's wearing a little hat. Mewtwo.
It's his mother's skull. Oh.
What's a hat, primarily? Where it was sourced. I'm not as interested in. Wait, was she still wearing it when did he kill her and take her hat?
Funny.
Did he kill her?
There's theories. I don't know. Huh. I don't subscribe to that. I am of the school where I think he
Something
just
people
found
talk
her
about
corpse.
whether the Japanese cartoon cat killed its mother
He's
or
not a cat. He's not a cat.
What is he?
Let me go. Well, I mean, he is
I swear to God, if you see another fucking consonant, I will literally kill you. That is not a threat. That is an insurance. It's an insurance.
Go poop.